Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down one of the most incredible, most essential processes on the entire planet. It's something that happens silently, all around us, every single day. Photosynthesis. So let's just dive right in. Think about this for a second. How do plants create their own food using literally just sunlight, air, and water? It sounds like straight up magic, doesn't it? But it's real, and that's the core question we're going to unpack today. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of how it works, let's talk about why this matters so much. To put it simply, without photosynthesis, life as we know it just wouldn't exist. This one process creates the very oxygen we're all breathing right now, and it produces the energy that's at the absolute foundation of pretty much every food chain on Earth.
So the best way to think about this is like a recipe. It's life's most fundamental recipe. It's got ingredients that go in and a final product that comes out.
Now, if you're a scientist, you'd write that recipe down like this. I know it might look a little intimidating with all the numbers and letters, but trust me, this is just the scientific shorthand for the whole amazing transformation. So let's break that down into plain English. This is basically the cheat sheet. On the left side, you've got your ingredients: carbon dioxide from the air we exhale, water from the ground, and of course, sunlight to provide the energy. And on the right, the incredible results: glucose, which is basically a sugar that acts as food for the plant, and oxygen, the stuff we can't live without. Okay, so we've seen the recipe. Now let's pop the hood and see how the engine actually works. We're going to zoom right into a leaf to see the machinery in action. And the star of the whole show is this little molecule right here, chlorophyll. The easiest way to think of it is as a microscopic solar panel. It's the special green pigment that's just fantastic at one thing: grabbing energy from sunlight. And that captured energy is what fuels this entire operation. And hey, you know what? This also answers a super common question. Why are plants green? Well, it's because chlorophyll is actually a bit picky about the light it absorbs. It soaks up red and blue light like a sponge. But the green light, it's not interested. So it just reflects it away, right back into our eyes. And that's the color we see. Pretty cool, huh? Now, this whole thing doesn't just happen in one go. You should think of it more like a two-stage assembly line. First up, you have the light-dependent reactions. And just like the name says, they need sunlight. This is where water gets split apart, and the sun's energy is stored in these tiny little battery molecules. Then you get the second stage, the light-independent reactions, or the Calvin cycle. This part doesn't need direct sunlight. It takes the juice from those little batteries and uses it to build the final product, glucose from carbon dioxide. So plants basically figured out how to turn temporary solar power into a stable, storable chemical fuel. Okay, so we've seen the tiny molecular details. Now let's pull the camera way back and look at how this one little process completely shapes our entire world. We're talking about a massive, planet-sized impact. And get ready for this, because this one might surprise you. When you think about oxygen, you probably think of big trees and rainforests, right? Well, believe it or not, up to 80% of the oxygen in our atmosphere comes from tiny microscopic organisms in the ocean called phytoplankton. They're all doing their own little version of photosynthesis. It's mind-blowing. But of course, that doesn't mean we can forget about the forests. There's a reason we call rainforests the lungs of the planet. They are absolute powerhouses, inhaling huge amounts of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and locking it away, which is absolutely critical for keeping our climate stable. And the ripple effect just keeps on going. By making their own food, plants become what scientists call primary producers. They're the starting point, the absolute base of energy for almost every ecosystem. That apple you ate, the salad you had for lunch, even the burger from a cow that ate grass, all of that energy can be traced right back to photosynthesis. All right, before we wrap up, let's just quickly bust a few common myths. Myth number 1, plants get their food from the soil. The reality? Nope. They get water and minerals from the soil, sure, but their food is that glucose sugar they make themselves. Myth number 2, photosynthesis happens 24/7. Not quite. It can only happen when there's a light source. And finally, the idea that only leaves do all the work. While leaves are definitely the main factory, any part of the plant that's green, like some stems, has chlorophyll and can get in on the action. So when you really step back and think about it, this natural process is just unbelievably elegant. It takes sunlight, water, and CO2 and turns it into clean, stable fuel. And that efficiency leads us to a really fascinating question. What if? What if we could copy it? And this isn't science fiction. This is where science gets really, really exciting. Researchers all over the world are working on something called artificial photosynthesis. The goal is to build our own systems that can do what plants do, use sunlight to create clean, storable fuel. It could be a total game changer for our energy future. Which leaves us with this one big final thought. After billions of years, nature has pretty much perfected this process. Is it possible that the solution to some of our biggest energy challenges has been hiding in plain sight this whole time, right inside a simple green leaf? Could we, one day, power our entire world just by learning to copy what plants do every single day? It's something to think about.